Welcome to my presentation on the Annie Dukin case and the ISO standards that were found to be not in compliance over the course of her case. So some things about Annie Dukin is that she was a chemist at the Hinton State Laboratory Institute. She was employed shortly after her graduation with her bachelor's in biochemistry and was promoted to a chemist 2 less than a year after employment. She tested unidentified substances and then testified about the testing and the results that she got. In the end, or over the course of a year, she tested thousands of cases. And in the end, she actually admitted to falsifying evidence, which impacted approximately 34,000 cases. So the first standard that I found her not in compliance with is ISO IEC 17025-2017, section 6.2.2.1, which reads, personnel who authorize results, opinions, and/or interpretations shall meet the minimum education requirements established in the country in which the laboratory operates. This was found in the ANAB information packet about the ISO standard that we were given in class. And this was evidenced in the fact that on Annie's application to the Hinton Institute, she claimed that she had a master's degree in chemistry when she really only had a bachelor's in biochemistry. Every time that she got on the stand and testified about the testing that she did, she claimed to have a master's in chemistry. And every time she did, she perjured herself and broke an ISO standard. The second standard that I found her not in compliance with is the ISO IEC 17025-2017, section 8.3.2, which reads that the laboratory shall ensure that A, documents are approved for adequacy prior to issue by authorized personnel, and B, documents are periodically reviewed and updated as necessary. This one was found in the general requirements document package that we were given in class. So this was actually documented not by Annie per se, but by her supervisors and her coworkers, in that the testing and evidence that she was putting forth wasn't being reviewed. And if it was, and a complaint was brought forth to the supervisors, it was ignored because she was doing a lot of testing and in making the lab look good, but the amount of testing that she was doing was impossible for a person to do over the course of time that she was claiming to have done it in. So interesting facts that came about with this was that the director of the Bureau of Laboratory Sciences resigned and the director of the Analytical Chemistry Division was fired. The third standard was ISO IEC 17025-2017, section 7.4.1.1, which reads, for all test items received except for known origin individual characteristic database samples, the procedure shall, and then there's some, and then it gets to section C, require chain of custody for all items received and items that are collected or created and preserved for future testing. For example, ESDA lifts, test fired ammunition, latent print lifts, trace evidence, DNA extracts, and D, require chain of custody to securely and accurately identify the individuals or locations receiving or transferring the items, and the items being transferred in the chronological order of all transfers, minimally including the date, and then there's more after it. This one was found in the ANAB packet that we were given, and it's evidenced in the fact that Annie had possession of approximately 90 different samples that she quote unquote didn't recall getting. Later, she confessed that she falsified the documentation in the evidence log, saying that she took it out. She put this in at a later date than when she collected the samples. And she falsified not only her initials, but the initials of the evidence officer as well. The fourth standard that I found her to be not in compliance with is ISO IEC 17025-2017, section 6.4.3. And it reads, the laboratory shall have a procedure for handling, transport, storage, use, and planned maintenance of equipment in order to ensure proper functioning and to prevent contamination or deterioration. This one was found in the general requirements ISO packet that we got. And this was evidenced in the fact that Annie Dukin claimed to have falsified calibration records for the calibrations of some equipment that she did, a tune-up and a QM something or other. She put not her initials, but the actual individual that was supposed to be calibrating the equipment. She forged those initials because, quote unquote, no one was available, or because she just wanted to get the testing done, and it may not have been the proper protocol, the proper procedure, but she ended up getting the work done not in the correct way, and she understood that it wasn't the correct way, but she got the work done. So the fifth standard that I found not in compliance is the ISO IEC 17025 2017, section 7.2.1.1, which reads the laboratory shall use appropriate methods and procedures for all laboratory activities and where appropriate for evaluation of the measurement uncertainty as well as statistical techniques for analysis of data. This was found in the general requirements packet. And this was seen in the fact that Annie Dukin was dry labbing her results. She was collecting upwards of 25 samples on her lab bench, setting them into separate stacks and piles of what she visually believed they were. She would have a stack of what she visually believed were heroin, a stack of what she visually believed was cocaine, and then she'd only physically test a few of those samples. If it actually came back as something that she said it was, or something other than what she said it was, she would make it come back as something that as what she said it was. And this was how she proceeded to dry lab most of her results. The last standard that I found her to be not in compliance with is the ISO IEC 17025 2017, section 8.8.1. And this reads, the laboratory shall conduct internal audits at planned intervals to provide information on whether the management system conforms to the laboratory's own requirements for its management system, including the laboratory's activities, the requirements of this document, and is effectively implemented and maintained. This one was in the general requirements ISO packet. And this was evidenced in the fact that if Annie Dukin's supervisors had been actually auditing the lab like they were supposed to be, then they would have noticed that something was wrong much sooner. And her impact on the number of cases with her dry labbing, falsification of signatures on calibration records, on evidence logs, and all of the other issues that she had with evidence, it would have been stopped much sooner and could have been prevented from her actually going to jail. She could have just gotten a corrective action or something of the sort in that manner, and she might still have a job at the moment. So the references that I used were mostly what was given and provided in class, but I still have them present on my presentation. And that is everything that I've gotten out of the Annie Dukin case.